Why are we risking making something worse to where it goes into next year? And the Niners are that team. Everything has come up. They're wild coyotes, Steiny. Everything is blown up in their face. Proceed with caution. Treat your diamonds like diamonds.
They're not diamonds.
Fred Warner's not a diamond?
They're not a good team. 49ers are in the shambles.
Man.
They lose 35-10 to the Buffalo Bills. And now we got issues. Up and down the roster, Gil.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I missed you. Glad to be back, but I'll say this about that. Steiny, I feel like you got to call the dogs off now. Like Fred Warner on a fractured ankle. And I was just sitting there, and Evan had sent the tweet, and it kind of read my mind like, dude, look at these conditions, but he's out there. I saw Gladiator 2, one of the greatest movies ever made. He was being a gladiator out there on a fractured ankle. But Steiny, the way the game started and watching the Niners and McCaffrey before the injury kind of, run up and down the field, I'm like, well, here it goes. Could they pull this off? And for everything to transpire the way it did, and now you're sitting there 5-7. Steiny, I'm thinking about the future. If I'm the Niner brass, Fred, you need not to play. Trent, I don't, and thoughts and prayers with his family, what he's going through. But Steiny, you can't risk the biscuit when you talk about key cogs. And Fred Warner and Trent Williams, to me right now, are that they can't play another game. It's not worth it.
Okay. But what are you saving them for?
Next year.
Okay. And they're going to be better next year? Healthier next year?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think you do that.
Conventional wisdom would be if, you don't want to, like the McCaffrey situation, Steiny, before last night's, getting re-injured, you kind of just want to, you think not playing, you're getting better, right?
I don't think so. Like, I don't.
So you would keep Fred out there? Like,
yes, you still got to get mathematically eliminated. That's the way I feel. I mean, I don't believe for 1 minute if you sit these guys the last 5 games, the next year you're going to come out guns blazing. I think the problems are bigger.
Well, you hope to come out guns blazing from a physical standpoint.
Well,
and you're right about it being bigger than
how
this.
How long can you expect older guys to keep playing at a high level when now they're showing you that they might be on decline? Christian McCaffrey may be in decline.
He may never be the same for you.
Okay.
And you missed that opportunity.
So what's rest going to do to help that?
He's done.
Don't see it.
I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back. But you are right. You are married to him, Steiny. You just gave him a new contract. Mm-hmm. So moving forward, now you do have baby beast mode. But as far as McCaffrey being prime McCaffrey, that's why I kept saying that the Super Bowl loss hurts so much, because you don't know if you're going to get back. But I'm looking past him. Fred Warner's in his prime. And again, I'm sure, Steiny, the doctors told him, you can't make it worse. But what are you really playing for if you can't stop the run, if you can't score in the red zone? And we saw that again last night.
Well, I just don't. Here's my thing. You're 5-7, and you're 2 games out of first place. You still have a couple division games left. As dire as it sounds, I'm not shutting people down now unless they physically can't play. I mean, you got the Bears next week. You got to try to beat the Bears, get to 6-7, get some help.
So you're still going for it. You think you're going for it.
Well, I just don't understand the benefit of rest of packing in the season right now.
Well, you know what?
If you pack in the season with 5 games left to save guys for next year, that's just a wit. Like, you're just hoping at that point.
But, and again, this is just me. I'm not saying I'm right, but isn't McCaffrey Exhibit A?
I mean, if he's hurt, he's hurt. Then he's not going to come back and play. But if he can play, he needs to play.
Playing on a fractured ankle, what are you? You need to look yourself in the mirror. You're not that good. You're not going to win it. I don't believe the Niners are winning the Super Bowl this year. That's where I'm at. That's why I would tell Fred, we love you. You're a soldier. Sit your ass down, because you're not playing like old Fred when you're out there. Why are we risking making something worse to where it goes into next year? And the Niners are that team. Everything has come up. They're wild coyotes, Steiny. Everything is blown up in their face. Proceed with caution. Treat your diamonds like diamonds.
They're not diamonds.
Fred Warner's not a diamond?
They're not a good team.
Well,
they're not a good team, and you're going to rest players.
No, you got to think about the. Okay.
No, I don't think it's time to do that. I mean,
I'm talking Fred.
So 2 weeks ago, when they lost to the Seahawks, and people are like, they're done. Why didn't you just start resting guys then if you thought they were done?
Well, for one, I didn't know your best linebacker was playing with a fractured ankle. That's one. And Steiny, I was still the guy saying the math is still there.
Well, it still is now.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is. And
I guess, is it worth it? To try to get in, knowing you can't stop the run. I don't know what's going on with the quarterback. I'm not blaming him for the loss.
Why not?
But I'm telling you, for me, Brock Purdy is going to get the Jonathan Kuminga treatment. We don't have to do nothing until we have to do it.
So is Brock Purdy going to play the last 5 games?
Yes,
so
sir.
Purdy's going to play with no Warner, no Trent Williams. I mean, I just think it's too early to give up on the season. If guys can play, that's what they got to do. And I'm telling you, right,
Steiny, the math is still there for them to win the division. But if Fred is not going to be Fred, what are we really doing?
Now he's not Fred.
We talked about it, and I kept telling you he's playing on one wheel.
Okay.
I don't know excuses, but that's why it was kind of uncanny that he came out and said what he said about, I'm taking a shot every week.
So you want to quit, essentially?
No. I'm thinking about the future. I'm being responsible.
How?
Fred Warner is not playing like Fred Warner. You understand that, right? And we found out why.
Well,
and if he's going to continue not to mirror himself, why are we running him out there? That's all.
Because you don't have a better alternative, and you still got to try to win games.
All right.
888-957-9570 is the number. Niners get demolished last night, 35-10. McCaffrey gets hurt, and Purdy's not very good, and the defense can't stop the run, and they throw for less than 100 yards. They turned the ball over 3 times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the story this season. But the one thing that I let me tell you, I guess what I'm out on is, let's rest everybody now and get ready for next season.
Now, you know what? To help me out, Steiny, I didn't say everybody.
Why do you think they're getting hurt? Because they're older and they've played so many games in the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know. I guess
I'm not arguing that, but I mean, fluke stuff happens all the time. It's a collision sport, and Fred fractured his ankle, and
last year they didn't get hurt by injury. This year they did.
No doubt about it.
So, and they haven't overcome it. And the fact of the matter is, they had games early in the year they should have won, they could have won, they didn't win, and now they are hurt legitimately. The last 2 games they've been hurt,
but when healthy, they're still not that great. That's
exactly.
Why
so why are you resting guys for next year if you're a 500 team and worse all year long? I just don't think football is a sport where you magically just bring everybody back and, we lost games last year, but we'll win games next year. You're too old for that.
Yeah, I got you, but you're fixated on everybody. I'm talking about Fred. Steiny, I can't remember.
But Trent Williams, what are you going to do with him?
Can he go? I don't know what to do with him. But I'm telling you this is why I kept honing in on eras, and you get so many chances and cracks at it with this iteration of the Niners, man. This team, it's eroding around them, and they're going to have some uncomfortable conversations or real conversations within those walls of just about what you do and how you do it. And then the crazy part, Steiny, is if you can do it. I mean, Brock Purdy, I take the L. I sat there and told you $60 million. I would not do that now. And you said, Goo, I'll give that to you. But I mean, you don't. What did Bob Myers say? You don't got to do anything, Goo and Steiny, until you have to do it. But I mean, to have him come back and quarterback next year and delay or need to see more, And how many times I give Kyle credit for his players not throwing anybody under the bus? Kittle, after the game, who showed the week before in conditions he could catch balls. I don't know why, Steiny. I'm coming in, I'm putting it on everybody, how he only has 2 targets. And he said he was open.
Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, NBC Sports.
Great play.
Josh Allen gets a touchdown pass and a touchdown
Now, how do you get
run?
Both?
Because he threw a pass and then he ended up scoring. Right?
He didn't throw it to himself.
No, he threw it
to Amari Cooper, and Amari pitched it.
Yeah. How else would you score it? I don't know. I'm not. I thought it was strange too. But
he didn't get both for that one play. That was a reception.
But
they were saying it was the first time he got he did 2 in 1.
I think he gets a pass and a reception.
Yeah.
I thought that's what. Maybe I misunderstood Tirico.
No, I understood it like Steiny, where he got the 2 for 1. I'm like, how everybody was going crazy. Like that's one of the first times it's happened.
Because he threw it to himself.
No.
Well, like what would happen in a game if you throw a ball, it gets tipped, comes back to the quarterback, and he runs it in the end zone?
Now that I understand.
Like Marcus Mariota did that in a playoff game.
Yeah, exactly. They mentioned him as the last player to do it. Anyway, I don't.
Yeah. Great heads up play by both.
Made it 28-3.
Yeah.
Pretty much ended that. 888-957-9570 is the number. Niners, they lose 35-10. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt again. And the Buffalo Bills just ran over the Niners. They threw it when they needed to, and they bent, but they didn't break. It was every single thing we've seen all year.
Yep.
49ers get down in the red zone. They miss 2 field goals. Bills get into the red zone. They score touchdowns. And now all of a sudden you're down 21-3 at half. And what can you do?
Yeah.
What do you do if you're the Niners right now?
Figure out how and why you are dependent on field goals and why the biggest rat on the table this whole season has been, Steiny. I don't have the answer. Why are you not being able to cash in more times than not?
And I guess that's where I'm at when people say, let's just cash this season in, or let's just get ready for next year. The implication that I hear is, well, we'll be fine next year. Well, why would you just assume you're going to score in the red zone next year?
Because what if I'm just going here, and this is why this injury to McCaffrey throws this off, but I'm going to throw it at you. What if last year they led the league in red zone efficiency?
Well, that's last year. The team's different.
No doubt. And now it's very different because we don't know if McCaffrey will ever be the same.
This is Shanahan.
We're not as good of a team as those past teams. So that's kind of how I look at it. We're not the same team at all. Every team each year is different. But I'm not going to say that this team is the same as last year's team. We're just not fighting as hard. We've got a bunch of different guys out there. We've been trying to find our way since the beginning. Haven't quite found that yet. There's still a lot of season left, and we expect to play better. But I'm not going to say that our team doesn't have fight.
Yeah, Steiny. I don't get it. And I'm looking at Jordan Mason's line.
Let me just start. Like, what don't you get after 12 games when it's
the 12 games I don't get. It's coming into this season. I would have bet my life that trend with this talent that they had coming into this year, that they would never be able to rectify it 12 games in. That's what I don't get.
And I guess
I don't know what's going on.
This team has stunk this year. They've stunk.
I'm not arguing that.
So, if they've stunk this year, why would you possibly bring back the same team and just expect a different result? Because we talk about, the whole insanity is doing the same thing over and over. I mean, you brought back the team lost in the Super Bowl. You bring back essentially the same team. You pay your 3 guys, and now how do all 3 of those contracts look at this point? And now you're going to come back and, I mean, I guess if it's all you can do, then fine, bring it back. But
you've paid some of these guys; they're coming back.
Are they?
Well, George Kittle is.
Is Ayuk coming back?
Yeah, Steiny. I mean, where's he going? Who would take Ayuk right now? I mean,
not right now, but I mean,
that looks like a bad contract. I don't believe
McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Kittle, Ayuk, and Jennings will all be back.
No, I believe Deebo is on the first thing smoking out of here, not because he wants to be.
All right.
But if you just want to talk about a microcosm of the season, I mean, Deebo, it used to be his league, right? And his skill set and everything he could do. And every time they used him on kickoff or punts, it was like important. But I was always like, man, he's going to get hurt. The fact that Kyle Shanahan, the last couple of weeks, had him back there, it's like that's the only way we can get him the ball to be effective. That right there in itself is a signal telling you, Steiny, I feel like they're just like, hey, if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But why? What happened to him? And he might tell us something else, but I just don't understand these 12 games that you mentioned as to why they're so porous in the red zone. And then last night you're in the red zone, and hey, I'm not going to nitpick here. Your boy Juszczyk fumbled the ball. Everybody's like, well, why did he even get it? But for George Kittle to only have 2 targets, why wasn't he featured at all down there And I didn't see that happen, and I don't think it's a Purdy issue. I don't think it's a Kittle issue, Steiny. I think it's going back to the play caller.
This is George Kittle.
Man.
You got a pass on the first play.
I did.
And you didn't catch another pass.
I did not.
An explanation on why you did not?
No, I do not have an explanation. I think I ran like 6 more routes the rest of the day. Could be a combination of that, but no idea.
No, they were doing to you.
Oh, goodness gracious, no. No, I didn't feel that. I felt pretty open multiple times. It is what it is.
Now, how does that hit to you, Steiny? Because I know you're more.
I'll tell you how it hits me.
How you think, and we're different, but that's George Kittle saying something, and I need somebody to help us decipher who that was to, because I was open.
First of all, every receiver thinks he's open all the time. Secondly, what's the one thing they did well last night?
Run the ball.
Right. And he blocked probably for a lot of those runs. So I'm not saying he shouldn't get the ball more, shouldn't get targeted more.
Yeah.
But
he only had 2.
Brock Purdy couldn't throw.
Yeah.
He didn't even throw for 100 yards. But we're going to throw downfield. That's what I'm talking about. It's like the only thing you can do is run the football. You can't throw it anymore. I don't know why.
Well, he had 18 pass attempts.
That's okay.
He's not good in the weather. I'm never like.
But he was terrible, Brock Purdy.
No doubt.
Okay.
But you could still, of the 18 attempts, 11 of them could go to the guy that could catch better than anybody else. That's all I'm saying.
The guy who can catch better than anybody else is Jennings, and he got the ball enough. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but
they got problems, is what I'm telling you.
We've done this all year, and it's like Debo doesn't get the ball one game. Why not? We got to get it to Debo. Then Kittle gets a lot. Well, we got to get the ball to this guy. Every single game, there's been 2 guys who don't do anything, and then we got to figure out who to blame. How do you blame? Ricky Pearsall hasn't caught a pass in 3 weeks. Whose fault is that? Well, maybe it's Kyle's because he's not targeting Pearsall. Well, we want him to target Kittle, too, and we got to get the ball to Debo. And when McCaffrey plays, he's got to touch it 20 times. And let's not forget about Jordan Mate. Maybe they have too many weapons. Maybe they have too many weapons. Well, they can't spread the ball around enough.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have, Steiny, because when you got too many weapons, as long as you're effective, you're getting the job done. Okay?
I'm not sure.
But
I'm not sure about
Ricky
that.
Pearsall's a baby. He's an infant in this league compared to Kittle, right? Kittle's proven. So if Kittle's saying he's open and he's not getting the ball, and then on the flip side, Pearsall has been a ghost for 3 games, this is why I would just like to ask Kyle, it's got to be you or it's got to be Purdy. Or it could be a combo, but it's not working, Steiny. And I give you the dub on Guru. We've seen this 12 weeks. But good God, doesn't mean I'm not shocked.
I mean,
Kittle's saying he was open and didn't get the ball. And now Pearsall, if you just didn't watch the game and you look at the box score the last couple of weeks, you're like, this dude, what did they draft him for? Or is it a combo thing of Kyle is having a bad year scheming it up?
Okay. Then again, if he's having a bad year scheming it up and you bring back the same players next year, what makes you think everybody's just going to turn it around?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I don't either. And that's why I'm not saying, well, let's just shelve everybody and just get them back next year and they'll be fine. I don't believe that for a second.
That first drive, I'm just telling you and Evan and the listeners, Steiny, I was on the sofa like, they're running the ball better than they ever have. Now, granted, it might have been because the field was so messy. The D-line for Buffalo was at a disadvantage, both D-lines. But all the people that kept telling me Christian McCaffrey, last time I saw you, didn't have a burst. Before he got hurt, there was a burst. Oh, you know why there was a burst? Because there were holes. And for him to average, 7.6 yards a pop, Mason 6.8, 6.0, Steiny, and you still get out of Buffalo with 10 points? There's a disconnect.
It's just, you can't. Kyle Juszczyk fumbled at the goal line. So you're going in to maybe make it 21-10. Maybe.
Yeah.
He fumbles and they take the ball back to the 50. That's Kyle Juszczyk. That's your fullback. That is part of Kyle Shanahan's magic, right? Yeah. He plays a fullback. Not everybody plays a fullback, but he does. And 2-3 years ago, well, it was smarter than everybody else. Now it's not. So I don't know what you do.
And defensively, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. I mean, Jair Brown a safety is the last line of defense, Steiny, and he was taking the Anthony Old Raider Dorsett angles. Like, you can't do that and allow Cook to hit But they oh my God.
But bring everybody back, and maybe next year he makes that play. Well, I don't know.
I'm with you, but Steiny, the reality of saying all you guys are out, where there's not a hockey line change. They got some. This thing may take a couple years, and then the rat on the table is the quarterback. That is the rat on the table. Josh Allen threw the ball. And last week, I'm just asking. I was the guy saying give him $60 million.
Yeah, I know.
What are we?
You weren't the only one.
Okay.
Jed York said he was resetting the market.
I appreciate that.
Why he said that, I don't know.
What you do is you tear this thing down to the studs. That includes trading Nick Bosa, trading Fred Warner, trading George Kittle if you can, if he's still under contract. Don't bring back CMC. His career is done. You also start with a coach and the GM, because ever since Kyle and Shanahan and John Lynch have been here, they have had 4 seasons under 500, and they've been here for 8 seasons. That is an F. I would like somebody to explain to me in a courtroom if I don't know where you guys stand on Kyle and John, but for the prosecution team, I think we would win inside of a courtroom and getting them dismissed from their positions, because there's no vision with them anymore going forward into the future. You made multiple first round draft picks. You missed on those. You botched the Javon Hargrave signing. You botched the Brandon Ayuk contract. You gave players contracts who shouldn't have been giving contract extensions when they're getting older. Like what are we expecting from these two guys the next 2 years that's left on their deal? The next 2 to 4 years. A rebuild takes 2 to 4 years, and we are in the midst of a rebuild. And people need to accept that. And the sooner we accept that, the better this organization would get. And the more better this organization gets is if we get rid of these two that are going to do nothing for us the next 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see. We're not there yet.
Yeah, and come on, Steiny. Like, I get where Niner fans are at, but you would lose that battle in the courtroom because you've gone to 2 Super Bowls. You've gone to 4 straight NFC championship games. That right there is Exhibit A on why they're not going to get fired. And it just feels like, to me, you didn't ask, the end of an era is right upon us, and now you got a question at the quarterback on what you're going to do and if he's your guy, especially with Kirk Cousins and what's going on in Atlanta, what's going on in Minnesota with guys that have been rumored to be Kyle Shanahan's type of guy. What are you going to do? And Steiny Zucci, man, on the Comcast Business text line, 510. Damn, Cousin Goo, give Steiny a second to answer all your damn worries. Take a breath. Wow.
I mean, I can't answer his worries. I can't. My only thing is look at the roster. Nobody's played well. Kittle's been fine. Now Fred Warner hasn't had a good year. Purdy's been mediocre at best. McCaffrey, oh God. I mean, you want to talk about a rat on the table.
Go ahead. The signing in the offseason, if he was hurt.
Of course. But what hurt in the Super Bowl? Everybody was saying he wasn't healthy in the Super Bowl.
But that's on the Niners, though.
That's right. I'm not saying it's not.
I got you sending them to Kaiser to get a physical, and maybe even if you did that, you wouldn't know. But this water under the bridge right now, Steiny.
You know, to me, this is one of those things, and this ain't
fun at all.
Well, it is for fans of other teams.
Well, yeah.
Not that aren't fans of the Niners.
Correct.
But, I mean, this is exactly what happened with the Warriors. You talked yourself into, we got to have Draymond Green. And you taught everybody, listen, and here's the other thing, 95% of the fans out there got it wrong. You got it wrong. Pay Ayuk, pay McCaffrey, pay Trent, we're in a window. Y'all got it wrong.
Yeah.
You got it wrong. Oh, they'll pay Trent. He doesn't need training camp. Okay. Well, what were our options? Well, to not do what you did. To not do what you did.
And have lesser at that position this year where it was a year where it was supposed to be Super Bowl or bust. Now it's playoffs or bust, and it looks like that might be going the wrong way.
Let's go to Austin. Austin's in the city. What's going on, Austin? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm putting this on Kyle Shanahan and Purdy, man. Why is we have all these receivers, but yet we constantly throwing into one or two receivers? Like, I just don't get it. Like, why all these rookies in the NFL right now is succeeding right now? On every team, they making some type of play on the team, but us. We got Cowan, we got Ricky. We're not utilizing our players. We're just force feeding two people. And not only that, Christian McCaffrey's always been an injury person. I feel like the Panthers, they dodged the bullet on that. He's good for one season, then the next season he's down. I mean, they won on this one.
Appreciate the call.
But has there been I don't know if you know, Steiny, official announcement on what PCL for McCaffrey? Just don't expect him back. Right?
This is his dad.
Okay. Oh.
He has a PCL strain, so he'll get an MRI today.
Okay.
And hopefully it's not too serious. And it's something he can bounce back from pretty quickly.
You just want to talk basketball, don't you?
Man, he just went down. And in real time, Steiny, I thought I'm no doctor. I just knew that was the Achilles and calf. And there's video floating around where it looks like the calf kind of exploded. You see that at times, but I guess that's good news that it's the PCL, not the Achilles. But the bottom line is he going to be available for this stretch run that right now, Steiny, I mean, these last two games, you've been embarrassed.
888-957-9570 is the number. Niners 5-7 after getting beat 35-10 to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And was it the snow? Was it the injuries? What was it? And the bigger question is what do you do now if you're the San Francisco 49ers? The one thing I'm not doing is I'm not letting my veterans off the hook and resting them for the rest of the year. Because to me, the timing of that doesn't make any sense. It's like, we know you're 5-7. We still know you're only 2 games in back of the division. And so you have to, I think you still got to give these guys a shot at it, see if they can catch lightning in a bottle. Do I expect it? No. But I also think, so let me get this straight. So you pay Ayuk, you pay McCaffrey, you pay Trent Williams,
all three,
and now you're gonna shut them down with. And I get it, Ayuk's done, and McCaffrey may be done, but so now you're gonna shut Trent Williams down. I mean, okay, okay, and then, but what's he gonna do next year? Is he coming into training camp?
You got him signed.
They let these guys walk all over him in the summer. That's the way I look at it.
Well,
and if you were going to pay Ayuk, you blew it because you should have paid him early in the offseason. You just should have.
Right.
Or you should have moved him.
There was no benefit of going 15 rounds, and you gave him everything.
So, I don't know. 888-957-9570 is the number. Let's go to James in Oakland. He's got some positivity to share. What's going on, James? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Steiny and Guru? How you guys doing?
Hey, doing well.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I see a lot of parallels between the Eagles last year and the Niners this year. Last year, at the back half of the season, the Eagles were just imploding, and I feel like we're reliving that in the Niners world right now. People are calling for Sirianni's head on a platter. People are doing the same thing to Kyle Shanahan, and I think that if we make the right moves in the offseason, we can just come right back really strong. I think that Hurts is a better quarterback than Purdy, but just by a tick. He's right there, and I think that there can be a decent turnaround. You got to get the guys healthy. You got to get the dead wood off the roster, and load up with some new guys. Get some new blood in there, and you can come right back.
Well, the one difference between the Eagles last year and the 49ers this year is for over half the season last year, the Eagles were the best team in football.
10-1.
They were 10-1. Then they lost 5 of their last 6. They still made the playoffs. 49ers haven't. They have been terrible from day one, essentially. They have been.
Yeah, I got 6 field goals against the Jets, and I came in like, hey, it was a big win. They scored 30, but, just judging them to their standards that they've created in the past, that wasn't suffice. But I'll say this. If we were in another city and the head coach was not the coordinator, I believe the fans would be calling for the coordinator's job. Steiny, that's all it can be. We've seen this offense with McCaffrey be pedestrian. We've seen it without him in the red zone. He calls the plays. Now, if you're somebody that's going to say it's all everybody but the coach, I don't know. That wouldn't be my answer. And oh, by the way, last night in the snow, Steiny, you couldn't get off the field. You couldn't stop the other team. Your D-line is non-existent without Bosa. That's not going to change. That's your reality. You got one of your best players on defense with a broken ankle. I hate that and I said it, so I see how you took it. But I hate that you feel like I'm saying sit everybody down. I'm just saying he's the one thing. If it does, we're maybe a week or 2 removed from it being about next year, Steiny. I'm no doctor, so I'm sure the intel said Fred cannot hurt it any longer. But I would just Fred, we love you, man. Russell Crowe, Gladiator 2. But, man, what are we really doing if you're just a shell of yourself and we know our reality is trying to get this thing right for next year? Couple more losses, and you could see that. A fractured ankle, I've never heard of it where a guy playing on it. T.O. fractured his leg and came back for the Super Bowl, but playing on it. When you need to cut, kudos to him.
Mike Tirico, NBC Sports, describing the play where Christian McCaffrey essentially went down. He knew something was wrong, second quarter. And
was having his best game this year, Steiny.
Every running back was having their best game last night.
I'm just talking about McCaffrey. Yeah. Every running back didn't go out, but just to see him drop like that, you knew it was like, man, you got to. And like you started the show, you didn't say it, but I will. That game was like a microcosm of their whole season, man. And we can focus, and we will on the offense, but the defense is no better. But I just want to ask you a question about Brock Purdy. How much, I'm asking you on the Steiny meter, does your quarterback not being able to be at his best in conditions, how much does that impact how much you would pay him?
Well, it's not just that he struggled in conditions. It's that he hasn't been great when the conditions are perfect either.
This year.
Yep, but that's the year that matters. So, Steiny, last year this group was Super Bowl contenders, and this year they're suddenly bums. No, not bums, but it's a year-to-year league. Don't say it's a year-to-year league if you don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? This team's not the same as last year. They're all a year older. And, I just made a list. Ayuk, contract. McCaffrey, contract, then injury. Trent Williams, contract, injury, tragedy. Ricky Pearsall, shot. Travarius Ward, tragedy. Debo and Pepper, run-in. Purdy, regression. Warner, broken foot. This thing hasn't gotten on track at any point this year.
Yeah. I would add Kyle's play calling to that. It has to be on there.
Okay.
Not the coach, just the play calling.
All right.
To me.
Okay. And he became a bad play caller in a year. I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know one of the reasons that I think they're in this predicament is that nobody's been consistent offensively on this team. They've been, other than Kittle, they've been mediocre. I don't know what you do with Brock Purdy. I have no idea what you do with Brock Purdy. But if he needs 7 All-Pros around him, well, then you've got a decision to make about what you're going to do with him long term.
But Steiny, this is the same cast he's been with since the inception of him being the starting quarterback.
Right. So Is it just fluke that they're losing these games? If you think it's a fluke and they'll come back next, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I'm with you, but I'll say this to that. It's not like they're not moving the ball, and I'm going big picture for the offense. You've been moving the ball all year. All of a sudden now it's when you get to the red zone, that's a problem. And that's why he gets paid to coach all the players up. He's the leader. But Steiny, if all of a sudden now they're just they can't get it going in the red zone, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say when you talk about the players being inconsistent, and we get it, what about his play? What if they've caught up to him? Because we can't come at George Kittle right now and say,
well, he dropped the pass on
he
third
dropped
and
one
two.
pass,
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Right, but he caught a touchdown. He's been a touchdown machine this season. He's been a touchdown machine this season.
Right.
Why don't they use him more? That's a Kyle issue.
Because if they use him more in the pass game, they can't run.
They can't forget running, Steiny. They're trying to win games and score points.
Okay, well, they don't have a quarterback who can throw it downfield. Yeah. They don't have an offensive line that can protect.
Well, the answers to all those is right now you're right, but they did in the past.
Right, but again, okay, well then you know what? Maybe next year we can recreate 4 years ago with the same players. Didn't we learn this lesson with the Warriors?
But I feel like you think they just got 20 draft picks and cap that there's a credit card with no max on it. Like, it's harder than
that's what they did.
And I'm saying to fix it now. Like, Trent Williams is yours.
You messed up.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, look, and
or you had bad luck, man.
You know, nobody wants to say, like, people, you think that 52 guys on that team, they have a 53-man roster. Yeah. You think all 52 guys just said, well, yeah, just pay McCaffrey and everybody's fine with it. Everybody was fine with it. You think the team knew that McCaffrey wasn't healthy when they signed him to the extension? I'll bet you they knew. And I'll bet you the players knew. And they did it anyway. And Ayuk was crying about...
But Steiny, that's too simple to explain why everybody's not doing their job, though.
My point is, you know what? Christian McCaffrey was hurt, and they paid him a boatload of money. And he's missed the first 8 games, and now he's going to miss the rest of the season. Those are the kind of mistakes you can't overcome.
Okay, got you.
You paid Brandon Ayuk. He got in here, he stunk,
but they didn't know he was going to get hurt to where he couldn't finish the season.
Well, maybe they should. I don't even care about the injury. If Ayuk were healthy right now, they'd be 5-7.
Well, we don't know that.
They lost by...
Yeah.
Okay, so then, well, if you're going to say, well, we don't know that, fine. Then bring everybody back for next year and keep your fingers crossed. You know? I mean...
Wow.
It's like nobody's keeping accountability on the players who have all had terrible years. And, okay, you don't like Kyle Shanahan? Do something about it.
Well, I'll say this to that. Who at the time of the McCaffrey signing was bucking up saying you guys are crazy or second guessing
everybody?
Niners?
Right. And it was
the right thing to do.
Oh, was it?
And Trent Williams,
no, it wasn't.
Too.
How can you say that?
So what would you have done?
My point is this.
What would you have
said
done,
the same thing about the Warriors. When you get to this,
about the Warriors, I'm asking you what you would have said to McCaffrey. You would have paid him, Steiny.
My point is,
man.
Okay, and this is what you got. There were no good decisions. When Brandon Ayuk acts like he acts, and he's in a contract year, you either pay him or you don't. And guess what? Neither's good. Christian McCaffrey wants a contract extension. He's hurt. You got to pay him or not. You pay him. Okay, Trent Williams makes a fool out of you all offseason. Well, we can't win without him. He's Draymond Green. You can't win with him. You can't win without him. So it's a pie where everybody's got their hands in it and everybody's responsible for it. But I'm telling you right now, I guarantee you some of Christian McCaffrey's teammates are probably saying, well, that was kind of messed up. I'm just saying. Yes, and I already mentioned Trent Williams' tragedy.
Oh, yeah. Thoughts and prayers.
Let's go to Antonio in Oakland. What's up, Antonio? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm feeling so damn bad. I think some of the games, like the ones we lost to the division teams, those were fluky, but, you know, so many injuries, man. You know, I think Trent Williams and Nick Bosa, that they set a tone on both ends of the ball, and it's like, It's just amazing how bad they look without those two, man. I mean, Trent Williams, top 10 left tackle ever. Nick Bosa, DPOY winner, so they are important. But, you know, as far as Brock Purdy goes, would I pay him? I mean, I wouldn't give him like a super max. You know, he better take a pay cut so he can keep this freaking team around him, because at the end of the day, every quarterback needs talent around him, to be honest with you. But I don't like how it's going, and I don't think we're going to make the playoffs. But if we do, you know, I'll cheer him on. But yeah, it's looking terrible, man. But, hey, no, don't blame Shanahan for everything, no.
What's that? What was the last thing?
Shanahan for everything.
Oh, I said, yeah.
No, when you're 5-7, there's enough blame to go around to everybody.
Because the coach is responsible for the team. Even if like you said, they've been inconsistent, your best players. I don't argue that. And I think the play calling hasn't been up to par. Defensively, you don't have the guys. And, you want to spend 20 minutes on the defensive coordinator, we can, Steiny, but I don't know now is it he doesn't have the pieces, Sorensen, or they're not being creative enough, but they own the lines in years past. That was a Niner staple, and all of a sudden, vamoose.
We went into the season, and there were a lot of very smart 49er fans who said our offensive line is not very good. We didn't spend enough time and money on the offensive line.
Right.
Okay. Their defensive line, they lost
injuries,
Hargrave.
yeah.
Okay, injuries. They're coming back next year then.